Okay, can I just ask everyone else, if you've got a cell phone, just put it on silent, please, if you don't mind. And then we will start in a minute. There we go. Just put the cell phone on silent, please, if you don't mind. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Global Press Conference. I'd like to first welcome the media that is joining us globally. Please make sure that you can also send your questions on the WhatsApp line, and we will read them here on screen. Welcome to Johannesburg, the town in South Africa. I nearly said the capital town. I forgot that it's Pretoria. And I would like to welcome you to this official press conference by the CAF President, Dr. Patrice Motsepe. Special welcome to the President of COSAFA, President of SAFA, the Secretary General of COSAFA, and of course our partners from IMG, Canal Plus, and some of our partners that are joining us here live. Mr. President, please, you've got the platform to address us. We've got a media statement for media that is going to be up on the CAF website in a few minutes after the President has spoken, and it will also be distributed to the media that is joining us here.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Thank you. Let me start by expressing my personal deep gratitude to all of you, to the media, local media, global media. We'll talk a little bit towards the end about some of the COSAFA and Southern African issues, but we'll focus mainly on the performances of the African national teams at the FIFA World Cup, and I think that will take about 90% of the press conference, and the remaining 10% will be to deal with various other important initiatives. We've prepared a media statement or a press statement that will be released to you as soon as I have highlighted some of the issues. And then, as usual, we'll take questions. Let me once more just express my deep gratitude to the President of COSAFA for being here. The President of SAFA is with us, and of course, all our partners, Channel Plus now. Canal Plus, Channel Plus, IMG, and various others. And what? COSAFA as well? Oh, okay. I thought you meant COSAFA. And as I said, thank you very much to the media. And we've got some of our beautiful fans, and look at the most wonderful football supporter on the continent who makes us very proud. And I see, is it Blankensee there at the back? He's becoming younger and younger, so good. And just once more to express our deep gratitude to the media for the good work they are doing, and also asking questions, and sometimes they have to ask difficult questions, which are very important. We have a duty to respond to those questions as best you do. I'm very proud of the media in South Africa, on the continent, and the media has a very unique role to play, of course, in football, but also have a broader role to play in our communities. Now, I'll spend a few minutes talking about some of the important observations, and as I said, usually we create opportunities for questions. If you look at the press statement, as I said, that we will circulate, there are 3-4 issues that are very important. The first is to look at the performance of the 10 national teams in the FIFA World Cup. We're very proud. I'm very proud. African football is very proud. They did very well. We set very high standards for ourselves. We've got very high expectations. Our clear objective, and we are now more confident than ever before, coming from the FIFA World Cup, is to see an African nation becoming champions of the world. I'm more convinced than ever before that can indeed happen. Life doesn't allow for dreams or plans or expectations which are out of touch with reality. You've got to look at the facts at all times, and at the end of the day, I come from a business background, and my shareholders always say to me, where are the dividends? Where are the profits? Where's the money? And you can give all sorts of wonderful explanations. At the end of the day, if there's no dividends and you can't give the people who've given you their money to make returns and to make money for them, you've got a big challenge. So we've got a clear expectation that until we have that trophy on the African continent, and you can see we came very close. If you look at some of our top national teams, I had the privilege of talking with some of the most experienced, most respected coaches in the world, and sometimes it's important for me to listen more than express my opinions. And one of the common features is that many of our national teams in Africa, their performances reflect that they are as good as the best in the world. Look at what happened between Egypt and Argentina. Look at what happened between Cabo Verde. And they said to me, the population of Cabo Verde, I had my own number. And some people said it's 10 million. No, I don't know how they get to 10 million. It's more like 600,000. It shows that with absolute commitment, investment, training in the youth, and of course unity is also important for us. It's important that we increase the cooperation with our governments on the African continent in each of the 54 countries in Africa. We also increase our partnerships with the private sector, because an important ingredient for success is financial sustainability. It's financial independence. The most successful football nations, not just in Africa, but in the world, have a consistent, reliable, predictable support from the government, but also from the private sector. And I'm confident that that we are making significant progress. It would have been so much more beautiful. So much more beautiful. We did very well. But as I said, it's like many years ago when my son came to me and said, Daddy, I got 60% in an exam and I did very well. I said, did you say 60? Well, where's the other 40%? What happened to it? And he said, yeah, but you know, my friends got 55. Hey, you don't compare yourself with your friends who get 55. You compare yourself with those who got 85, 90. So part of my job, part of the jobs of every president in every one of the 54 countries in Africa, the Football Federation or the football president is to continuously give hope, give confidence, give inspiration, give encouragement. And you know, people at sometimes are not certain, but when they see the success and when they see the consistent success, they then become significantly more confident. Bafana played very well. Senegal played very well. I can say Ghana played very well. Algeria, the two nations that did exceptionally well from an African perspective, and it's purely based on the results, is Egypt and Morocco. The results speak for themselves, but I mean, we're in South Africa, and I'm going to give the message that I give in South Africa, which is the same message I would give in every one of the 54 countries on the continent. I'm very proud of Nigeria, Nigeria's Cameroon. I can say the same about every one of the 54 nations. Nigeria didn't make it now, and I keep telling my Nigerian friends, a World Cup for me, without Nigeria, without Cameroon, and many others, is incomplete, because Nigeria has always made us proud. Cameroon, many others. And a part of what we are going to do now is to work harder than we've ever done before. Because in life, if you work hard and you are determined, you succeed. You may not succeed immediately. You may not succeed overnight. In fact, you seldom succeed overnight. You seldom succeed immediately. So I'm enormously confident. And as I have to emphasize, I cannot have confidence that's based in the air without some quantifiable, accessible, objective criteria and facts that justify that optimism. One of the objectives of South Africa has to be, at the next FIFA World Cup, we're going to go to the semi-finals at least, or the finals. You can do that. You can do that. And the same applies to every one of the 10 nations. Morocco went to the quarterfinals. We're very proud of Morocco, because the success, and we're very proud of Egypt, and we're very proud of every single one of the 10 nations that went to the World Cup. Enormously proud. The success of any single national team at the World Cup, because the FIFA World Cup is the highest in the world, is something that all of us should be proud of. Because if any single country goes to the semifinals or finals or quarterfinals, they uplift the global respect and recognition of African football. So we are going to host a meeting. I'm told that Cabo Verde and some other countries want to host that meeting, where we are going to invite all of the coaches of the national teams that participated in the FIFA World Cup and others. And we're going to invite football experts, former legends on the continent, the smartest, the brightest, who've played at the highest levels in the world. And the purpose of that meeting is to talk about what can we do better? What do we learn from our performances in America and in Canada and in Mexico? Where is the room for improvement? Because we're very clear. And this is a different clarity in our mind, because it's a clarity that's backed up by results. Ghana played well, Cote d'Ivoire played well, Algeria. I mean, as I said, every single one of them. But we've got a clear plan. We've got an AFCON Pamoja next year. Next year we'll be in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. I'll talk about it. Enormous progress. And that is the flagship competition on the African continent. But we know that we've got players that are as good as the best in the world. You know, when we grew up, I sometimes ask myself, why do I love football so much? And I think part of the explanation is when I was 5 years old, they sent me to a Catholic mission boarding school very far away from home. And we used to spend 9 to 10 months in a year. Now, when you send a 5-year-old and spends 9 to 10 months in the Eastern Cape, in a place called Elwell North, the only thing we had was football. So at age 6 and age 5, we missed our parents, but we had football. And that inspired us. It sort of took our minds away from missing everybody at home. And I am no different from millions and millions of young South Africans. I must say, I sometimes get a bit jealous when I look at the rugby. The rugby is doing well, but they've got money. And you can't meaningfully succeed without giving confidence to the private sector. And I must say, I'm very proud of the work that Gayton is doing, our Minister of Sports, very proud. Enthusiasm, passion, also put some money. But we must get also more of the private sector, the banks, the mines, and not just in South Africa, on the rest of the continent. So the message is from me and from CAF and from African football, enormously positive. Let me tell you something else. If you look at the percentage of African clubs at the FIFA World Cup who qualified from the group stages to the round of 32, it's the highest in the history of African football at the World Cup. The stats speaks for themselves. We had 10 national teams, 90% of them qualified from the group stages to the round of 32, the highest ever. The second highest we ever had in the history of African football was in 2022, when we had 40% qualifying from the group stages to the knockout stages, which is the same as the round of 32 today. In 2018, no African national team qualified from the group stages to the knockout stages. In 2014, we had 40%. So the facts speak for themselves. And let me tell you something else. The only other confederation that did better than us is Europe. You know, Europe had 40% in the next stage, because we had it's all in this document that will circulate. But so there's a reason why we have to be optimistic, and there's a reason why we now more than ever before must be totally determined that we're going to do better starting today. I'm a bit disappointed at times when I am told that the schools football in South Africa is not doing as well as it should. I think that's incorrect. It's incorrect. It's factually incorrect. The facts are, we had about 8,000 schools. The Motsepe Foundation is sponsoring the K Motsepe schools football in South Africa. We had about 8,000. And I grew up watching. The first time I got exposed to Kaiser Motaung, at the back of my mind, was when he came to my father's school. I was a very young boy, too young, and he was playing for Orlando High. So when the Motsepe Foundation donated $10 million to the African schools championship, and we've had more than 1 million young boys and girls, more than 30,000 schools in Africa participating in the African Schools National Championship. It's because, I don't want to say the next Messi or the next Ronaldo, because I like them and I'm proud of them. But the next Drogba, the next Eto'o, ngibona uSiphiwe lapha. Angithi uSiphiwe bakhona abanye lapha. The next Piwe, the next JJ Okocha, the next Sadio Mane, the next Hakimi, the next Salah is in a village on the continent. Let's tell him there's a good future in football. You know, encourage his parents. I was showed Lamine Yamal when Messi was showering him, giving him a shower. Now, Africans have got all sorts of explanations that are not, it confuses people, but I just listen. But I've been fucking klein, ik heb helemaal van. We gewoon fish away, man. So and Yamin Lamal's father is from Morocco. And his mother is from Guinea-Conakry, from Africa. Mbappe, father from Cameroon, mother from Algeria. We have the talent. I don't like chasing a ship or a train that I cannot catch. I like chasing a ship or a train that I know I'll get inside. So the talent is there, enormous talent. Drogba, Eto'o, the list goes on. I should have mentioned names of young football players in South Africa because we love all of them. So we have to leave this meeting with a sense of enormous optimism, but also with a sense of enormous determination, more than ever before. In every one of the 54 countries on the continent, in every one of the 54 member associations, to say, the conclusion we have drawn from the FIFA World Cup 2026 is we've done very well. But the performances of the African national teams there have shown us. I mean, Egypt was leading 2-0 against Argentina. And I kept hugging the president of Egypt. Hey, he was sitting there, he says, Patrice, it's not, please, let's, you and I know that there's still 15 minutes left. But I must say something else and I don't want to mention names of the top coaches in the world who said, you've got to be careful because you cannot win yourself into success by defending all the time. The best defense is to attack. If you just wait for them to keep coming at you, they'll keep coming at you. You saw how the goal that they scored when Argentina played against England. I had the president of the United Kingdom, of the English national team, sitting next to me. And somebody, I don't want to mention his name, one of the most respected coaches in the world, said, don't defend. Not don't defend, but attack. Because if you, so I imagine these are some of the things that we are going to hear at this big conference that we are going to host very soon. And it's going to be an open conference, and the agenda is very simple. What do we learn from the performances of the national teams at the FIFA World Cup? What can we do better? What were some of the areas for improvement? What were the areas where we should take pride and take confidence from? So we live in an era, not just in football, but in society, where it's important to keep looking at the positive, the optimistic, that which encourages. There's always things that will discourage you. There'll always be weaknesses and failures. That's life. But we should spend more than 80 and 90% on the positive, on the good. Take inspiration from that. We're a great continent. Every single one of the 54 nations in Africa has got exceptional football talent. We can do much, much better, and we will do much, much better. And the objective that we've set of an African team, of an African national team, being champions of the world, I have no doubt that we will see it. I mean, I would not have gotten into football, would not have agreed to be president of CAF, as much as I deeply love football, if it wasn't also about the recognition of the enormous power of football to unite our people, to bring our people together. When I went to Nigeria, I was told, when the national team plays, there's nobody from the north, there's nobody from the south. We're all Nigerians. Beautiful. There's no Christian, there's no Muslim. We are all Nigerian. Absolutely beautiful. I went to Côte d'Ivoire, and they were talking about the problems they had during the years of civil war. And also, not just in Côte d'Ivoire, but other parts of the continent where there are issues of ethnicity, where ethnic divisions is used as a means to divide. But when somebody from another tribe comes from our country and plays football, we embrace him. This is beautiful. So in Côte d'Ivoire, all people from different ethnic backgrounds, and even in the middle of the Civil War, come together and support the national team. Now, talking about South Africa, it's always important that there's a clear understanding that my commitment and my obligation is equal to every one of the 54 nations. And what I say about South Africa applies to what I said in Namibia and other parts of the country, where we must all work together to increase the cooperation and the unity amongst all football stakeholders. It's very, very important. We need each other. None of us can succeed, whether it's in football or outside football, on their own. And this is part of my job on the continent we've done exceptional. I mean, there were some presidents, some heads of states on the African continent I've known for many, many years. And I'll go and sit with him and he'll say to me, you see, my brother Patrice, the football president belongs to the opposition. And they always vote against me. I don't want to see him. I said, no, just bring him closer. Let's use football to unite our people. Maybe he might just, I can't say he might support you. If he does, that's fine. But the more you reach out to people, and more often you've got to reach out to people who disagree with you and sometimes are even totally opposed to you, more often than not, we come together and succeed. So I'm very confident that we will make enormous progress in South Africa, because I sometimes see what's in the media, and I'm confident, enormously confident. And it's the same message I've given to many other parts of the continent. So I don't like reading press statements. I'm very hopeless in reading press statements. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them. You've got copies of it there? Okay. Whilst I talk, they will circulate the press statement. You see, he pays my salary, and this, I get almost $1 million every year from FIFA and CAF, and we donate that money back to football, because for us as a family, football is part of our philanthropic obligations. We've always identified football as a means to give back to the people of this country and the continent who've made us what we are. Now, just before I listen to what he says, I just want to make sure. Do you remember the goalkeeper of Cabo Verde? Superstar. So he came to me. There was some event that we were hosting, and we had all of these heads of state. And very proud. Made me very proud. Made the continent very proud. I mean, just think about it. 500,000 people can produce football players that basically draws with the champions of the world. The population of South Africa is what? No, 65, 70. I mean, how many superstars are there? Not here, Nigeria, everywhere. Many, many outstanding young players. Let me just see before they circulate this. I will be leaving South Africa on Saturday to go to Morocco for the women's, what they call the WAFCON. And we have increased the prize money of the women's WAFCON. Now, they gave me some, I almost said some crazy numbers, but some very high numbers. They said to me that since the new leadership, since I became president and the people who've been working, the people that I've had the honor to work with, remember, no leader succeeds on his own in anything. And the credit should not go to the leader. The credit should go to the people that he or she has the privilege to work with. So people say all these wonderful things about the things I've done in KEF. I would, I think give credit to the presidents of the 54 African member associations, give credit to my vice presidents, give credit to the EXCO, because we did it together. My pilots were complaining in America. They said to me, but you realize that every day we have to get on the plane and fly to Mexico and fly to Canada and fly to LA and fly to New York. If you are crazy and you work hard, we need to sleep. I said, but you don't play games with pilots, because it's not like a taxi when I drive and if I sleep, somebody can wake me up. If the pilots don't wake up, I might wake up in Ukraine or something. And they say, so, but I was honored. Part of my commitment was to attend at least one match of every one of the 10. I love it. So I attended at least one match of every one of the 10, and I attended more matches from some of the other countries, African countries, and then of course I went to the other matches as well. But as I said, we always look at football. I mean, just think of, I stood there in America and watched in the stadiums when the DRC was playing. And you see the excitement of the people from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Beautiful, man. A beautiful country, but like many other of our countries, lots of challenges, but they come together. I went to Côte d'Ivoire, and you see people, of course you see people from the continent, which is beautiful and encouraging, but you also see people from America, from Brazil. They call it Brazil. They say, we mustn't say Brazil, it's Brazil. Brazil, I like it. And you see people from Europe, from South America, from Asia. The enormous power of football to bring our people together. I mean, I'm part of that generation that we've got broader duties and broader obligations. When you wake up, I mean, when you grow up, your parents say, go and get a degree, get the degree, of course. And then your mother says, you'd better make sure you've got money, because no girl will look at you if you can't look after her children. She says, Yavana, I like him, but this one, he can't even support himself. So then you try and say, okay, let me try and make sure that financially I'm independent. But for me it was different, because I came from a family where my father was, we were a successful family. We had businesses. And so money for me was never, I never did things for money from a young stage, because I grew up in an environment where we saw what my parents did well. So in business, of course, my shareholders mustn't hear me say that, because they are clear. Please make money for us. If you don't make money for us, don't waste our time. So we have to compete and consistently make money for our shareholders. But the point I'm making is that we've always looked at football similar like money. Money is important. But money doesn't, I almost said money doesn't give you happiness. I was talking at the school, at the university with some young students, and I said, hey man, the importance of money is exaggerated. Money doesn't give you happiness. One young girl said, please give me money, I'll show you what happiness looks like. Just give me money, and I'll show you what happiness looks like. Why say I get Zulu? What want in this money? o tla bona gore happiness again. But I'm saying this in the context that all of us, we talk about football, we absolutely love football, and have to see football as well in its context. Look at Shabalala. Football gave him a future, gave him a career. And that's what we love. Every young boy and girl on the continent, we want to say to them, there's a bright future in football. When we grew up and you hear that your aunt's daughter, her boyfriend is a football player, but you. But this is many years ago because they thought there was no money in football. Now it's opposite. You marry because you love somebody and you can have a good future in football. Now, we have increased the prize money of the WAFCON by 900%. It's unbelievable. 900 for the women. And that's why I say to you, you can make all sorts of promises and say all of these nice things. If you don't back them up with quantifiable, visible, and as they would say, touchable. They want to, so what do we feel at the end? Want to touch it. So we've increased the prize money by 900%. Last year, when I became president, the winner of the women's competition got 200,000. And then we got it to 1 million. Now they get 2 million. So you win. We've increased the prize money for the winner by 100%. We've increased the overall, the money that so the winner gets 2 million, which has been increased enormously. And you'll get it, don't worry, you'll get it in the document. But we've also increased by 495%. When the current leadership got into football, the total money that was spent for the women's football on the continent was 975,000. Now it's close to 6 million. And there's still a lot more that we have to do. 2 final points before I take questions. The AFCON in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda is going to be enormously successful. There's no World Cup. I mean, when I went to the World Cup in 2014 to Brazil, and there was in Brazil, and there was an opening match. Some of the leaders there said to me, do you see that there were parts of the stadium that were not complete? They were not 100% ready. So, and of course, when I became president of CAF, they said, take the AFCON away from Cameroon. And I could never allow that. Because we have to have confidence in our people. Despite the challenges, and sometimes there'll be failures as well, we try again. So the AFCON in East Africa is going to be enormously successful. There are some challenges, but I'm proud of the work that the heads of state of Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda are doing. And so I'll see all of you next year for the AFCON in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. 2 quick points. We've opened the bids for AFCON 2028, AFCON 2032, and AFCON 2036. I will have gone long by then because I was supposed to be president only for 1 term. And when they said to me that if you leave all the money we promised for CAF, we will leave with you, I thought, we've made too many sacrifices not to allow the good work that we've done to be implemented. And part of my job also to make sure that there are good leaders. And there are good leaders who will not only take over from me, but also continue the good work that we've started. And I saw Denny, South Africa, and Botswana, and others, and met various others. we've received exciting bids. And then, of course, the member associations came to me and said, but President, you see, if you increase the number of participating teams from 24 to 28, it's going to make it difficult for us to participate. I mean, you, Dr. Motsepe, have emphasized that you want every zone to host the AFCON. It's because I've seen what the AFCON does. I mean, when the presidents of football in the country say to me, my government has never taken me so serious. They've never allocated so much money to building the stadiums. They've never made so much money available for hotels, for hospitals. They've never encouraged the private sector to support professional football. We have to support professional football. It's the backbone, as well as amateur football. But we have to support professional football in every one of the 54 countries on the continent, and tell the private sector, give them money, invest. You will make more money as the businesses that support, because our people love companies that are there where our people are. So I'm very excited about the proposals we've received. We'll make announcements. And another very exciting thing is the invitation to tender. African football, because of governance, because of ethics, because of transparency, because of auditing practices, the private sector wants to support us, because they know if they put money into football, it doesn't go into pockets that it's not supposed to go to. It goes to development for young boys and girls, amateur football, support the Football Federation, support the professional soccer leagues. So we've had a number of enormously exciting, some of the biggest international marketing and agency companies that want to partner with CAF for our commercial rights, TV rights, hospitality. And this is part of the $1 million plan that I've discussed to ensure that every member association gets at least $1 million from CAF. And that money must go to the member association to develop and grow football. Just before I go to the, my apologies, just before I make one final remark, I want to thank Gianni Infantino for the excellent work that he's done, and thank FIFA, thank Matthias for hosting what was the most successful FIFA World Cup in the history of the competition. And they did good work. I'm very proud. And what Gianni has done is to contribute to us increasing the number of African national teams. Enormously important. We have to be smart in Africa. We need partners. We've got to work together with the other confederation. It's very important, because there are times when we need their votes. So we need friends, we need good partnerships, good relationships. We've got a very good agreement with UEFA to work together on areas where we can develop and grow football. They say that they learn from us. We definitely learn from them as much as we learn from CONMEBOL and from Asia. We've got good ties with CONMEBOL, with Asia, Oceania, CONCACAF, and of course FIFA is our mother body. Very, very proud, and that's why we as Africa, and I personally, Gianni has been loyal. Gianni Infantino has been loyal to Africa. He's been loyal to me. So whoever takes over from me, van der Beek klaar van voor het. Let me say it in English. You have to have partners. You need to have a president of FIFA who is as committed to African development and growth as Gianni Infantino is. You need that. And then you need to work with others as well. with the other confederations for the success of football in the world, because we also need football to develop and grow on the African continent. We're going to meet in Abuja, in Nigeria, for the Ordinary General Assembly in November. Nigeria is a proud football nation, and there's a reason why I took it to Nigeria, and there's a reason why I'm looking at some of the countries in Africa, because we have to do something very special in every one of the 54 countries on the continent. As much as we have to do something special in South Africa, in Kenya, in Cameroon, in all over the continent. Okay, I think we can go home now.
Thank you.
Please, no political questions.
Thank you.
All right. So they will now circulate because the political questions are boring. I think you are as bored as I am. I mean, when my shareholders ask me political questions, I have no choice. I've got to answer them. And I sometimes start thinking to myself, I don't think I'm doing a good job, because they keep asking these things. So we've agreed, no political questions. We can, and of course, siyawathanda amabhakaniya, amakhosi siyathanda. I don't know what the other club is. The other one, Leya Sepitora ngazi igama layo. And we love Golden Arrows, AmaZulu. I like Al Ahly, and then I must quickly say I like Zamalek and Pyramids as well. I like Wydad. Every single one of the 130. Leya go Botswana rollers. Obana Mutsepo na Tsamekela rollers. So that's why rollers. I love all the wonderful teams from all over the country, all over the continent. Okay, so give we can circulate and Golden Arrows I love as well, AmaZulu, Nyawatanda AmaZulu, which is a team from Cape Town now. Because, yeah, oh, it's just, I will be in, on Saturday night I fly out to Morocco, but I'll be at Jaden Adams's funeral to express my personal condolence. I mean, really, there's certain things I'm weak at. You know, when you hear these things, oh gosh, it's very painful. But we'll be there to pay our respects and sort of give support to the family and to all our young people in the country to say, we are there with you. You're going to circulate?
100%, President.
Yeah. So we'll circulate, and then you can read it, and then you can ask questions. And just in conclusion, thank you so very much for all of you being here. And we are going to do great things together. We're going to do great things together. We have the capacity to do great things, to make African football amongst the best in the world. Can we clap hands for everybody who's here, please? Okay, so who's going to circulate the press statement?
Tabang is there at the back, President.
Tabang, will you circulate?
He'll be passing them in a minute, President.
Let somebody help Tabang so that when he goes this side, Amakomanese can go on the other side. Amakomanese Basekai.
Just to reemphasize that once again, historic day for African football today. The prize money for women's AFCON will be $2 million. That's about 35 million rands.
For the winner.
For the winner, rather. For the winner, $2 million US. That's about 35 million rands in local currency here. Historic day. Again, since the president of CAF took over, the prize money was $200,000 for the women's AFCON winner. Now it has gone up to $2 million US. We will now take over some questions. I think they will circulate the press release in a minute. And also we've got a couple of questions that are online that have been sent to me already, and we will go through these questions. So maybe we should take here, Mark Stradom will go first, and then I will go somewhere in the middle, and then I'll go online afterwards, and then Themba Tshabalala. So Mark, we'll go to a lady first. Mark, you go first.
Yeah. So they're circulating on both sides, eh? Just make sure that everybody has a copy, because you may have questions and your question is answered, so you may give others the time to ask questions. Okay?
Straight on.
Thank
Just
you.
introduce yourself, and then for the benefit of the international media that is watching this press conference.
Should I stand?
Yeah, you can stand.
Mark Stradom, timeslive.co.za. President, interesting to hear your vote of confidence for the FIFA president at this time, and the praise for the most successful World Cup. I believe it was the most successful financially, but possibly also one of the most, if not most, controversial in history in terms of ticket pricing, the expulsion of the Somali referee, the treatment of the Iran team, and the overturning of the Balogun suspension, among other controversies. Do I take it you are at a time when there are calls for Infantino to go, voicing your support? And a second part to that is, does CAF have an official stance on the expulsion of the Somali referee from the US from the World Cup, who apparently had a valid US passport? Thank you.
Brilliant question, Mark. Very good question. And that's why the media is so critically important, because whether it's in business or football or, I don't know, even in church or in politics and in the economy, it's important that you ask these questions. We have a duty to answer them as best we can, because we also have a duty to report to the hundreds of millions of football spectators and fans on the continent. I must say, I was very emotional when I heard what the Somali referee Omar said to me, and I was also emotional when he was excited, because we said to him, "You are now going to be the referee of the biggest club competition in Europe." And I really want to thank Saffron and thank the UEFA for the discussions and for this opportunity. I'm clear in my mind, because the issue of the circumstances under which a country either allows somebody to come in or not to come in, we've had lots of those challenges. We had the same challenges in other countries on the continent in football. And it's a sovereign issue. They've got their laws and their requirements. My job and my duties is to make sure that we are there to support the Somali referee, Omar. And he's our best. We gave him an award as our best referee on the continent. We are proud of him. And we will keep on supporting him and all the other referees. Talking about Gianni, you know what is more important? It's more what we discuss in private. And it's important for me, I always look at the heart of a person. We are all human, men. We all have weaknesses and frailties, and we all make mistakes. And I think I make more mistakes than anybody else. But what I like is the deep love for football, the deep commitment to football in the world by Gianni, the support for Africa, and that's some of the issues that we have discussed, including some of the issues that you have raised, and I'm satisfied that he's always shown the deepest commitment. The deepest commitment. You know, there are rules in FIFA, and we all have to respect those rules. I was laughing when he said that sometimes the FIFA judicial bodies makes decisions that he doesn't like. I thought he got that from me. because the CAF judicial bodies sometimes take decisions that I don't like at all, but I've got to keep quiet and support them because their independence is critically important. And they have to know that they must take decisions that has got nothing to do with whether the president of football supports or don't support. And the people in FIFA who took the decisions you refer to, I've been exposed to, you see the CVs. There's some people there with enormous integrity. And I think the issue for us now is to make sure that that we, because public perception is everything for all of us. I can stand as the president of CAF. I mean, let me give you another. The AFCON every 4 years. Now, I know that I'm giving them the same AFCON as it is now every 2 years. Identical. But I'm doing something else and giving them something different every 4 years. But it doesn't matter what I say. And this is the point you made, Mark, very important. It's what ordinary football people, and not just football people, and non-football people on the continent, what their perception is of what we do. And it's important that CAF, and I know that FIFA as well, we're all committed to make sure that in the minds and in the perspectives of ordinary people in Africa and worldwide, we are seen as an organization that upholds governance and ethics at the highest levels. I'm going to be more brief because that's a very important question you asked, and I had to try and give as much explanation as possible. So the next questions, the answer is going to be yes, no, yes, no.
I'll go to Vidil, and then afterwards I come this side to Mbali. After Mbali will be...
I hope Mbali is a lady, because we must give ladies time as well.
After Vidil, we'll go to Mbali, President.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm here, President.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Uyazi mina bengidlala rugby, hayi ibhola nje. Aliwal North. Uyakwazi eDordrecht?
I was a bishop.
Uyakwazi eQueenstown?
And I wasn't.
Galvandale, I mean, it keeps them. And we'll continue.
Yeah. President, just a question I had asked you before, but I see now it's gathering momentum up north on the expansion of CAF interclub competitions. Apparently, you've received a request from Egypt. Can you please expand on that? Is it something on the table? Are you doing it this season or next season?
No, it's a very good question, and I think if we receive any request, we've got to look at it and discuss within EXCO, and EXCO is the most authoritative, the most senior body in CAF, and we have a duty to look at every proposal and take decisions based on what's in the best interest of football. So I think I've answered you now.
Thank you.
What more do you want me to say?
That was very short.
Yeah. I hope you are happy with what I said. What do you want me to say? Expand. I've expanded as much as I can. Let me be more direct. Decisions of this nature have to be looked at by EXCO, and EXCO has to take the decision. And we have a duty to look at every proposal that we receive. So the Secretary General is not here. That proposal will be submitted to EXCO to look at and to take decisions based on what's in the best interest of football. It's our duty to do that. Thank you very much. Next question.
Mbali?
Good morning.
Always also say which media organization are you from?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good to see you, Mbali.
Mbali Skiti from Supersport / Canal Plus / Okay.
I'm told the / goes to increase in salaries and wages. I like that.
Okay. Of course, after WAFCON, the focus becomes the AFCON, and of course, there's still that matter of contention with Senegal as well as Morocco. Now, we know that we are expecting an outcome from the Court of Arbitration between September, October, somewhere there before the end of the year. Based on the outcome, Mr. President, how do you think that will affect then next year's tournament, maybe the officiating or just the morale around the teams? Will there be any changes based on just the outcomes, and how will it affect? Yeah.
Very good question, Bali. Very good question. The process is now before CAS, and whatever decision CAS takes, we will respect and implement. I mean, look at what happened at the World Cup. Decisions that referees take, there's always a contestation. What we have to do is to learn from what happened, and we've already passed laws to make sure that what happened in Morocco never happens again. And also keep engaging with the referees, VAR, match commissioners, to make sure that the rules and the laws are very clear. And because at the end of the day, what ordinary football people think on the continent about the results is critically important. The integrity of the decisions that are taken. And there must always be a clear perception that you win because you are the best. You don't win because the referee takes decisions that are questionable, or that are questionable VAR decisions that are taken. So I'm very happy. We've had lots of discussions, and I'm told that what I said was I'm sick and tired of answering the same question. It's not totally correct. What I actually meant was I think people are sick and tired, and so am I, by giving you the same answer all the time. And the same answer is, I go to, at the World Cup, people from Senegal said, President, please leave the trophy where it is. People from Morocco say, President, the decision was taken in our favor. And the point is, I always have to give the same answer, which is, I have to wait for the decision of CAS. I can't give you any other decision or any other response than there's nothing I can do. Legally, ethically, I have to comply with the rules and regulations and statutes of CAF and FIFA. And those are, I have to wait for the conclusion and then implement it. So I said, I'm sick and tired of telling you, I have to wait for CAS, I have to wait for CAS. And I thought that you must always also be sick and tired of hearing me saying the same thing to you. But thank you very much. Excellent question.
Okay, we go to you, and then afterwards we come this side, and then I'll go back that side. I have to go to him, and then afterwards Temba and Mahlatsa there, and then Gareng, you'll be next.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yanga Sipembe, and I'm from Daily Maverick.
Daily Maverick?
Yes, Daily Maverick.
In Senegal? Or? No, in Morocco? Okay. In Egypt, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, first of all, congratulations on, of course, the announcement of the increase for AFCON prize money. But we know that the past two AFCONs have also been postponed. So my question is, do you agree that CAF can do better in terms of disorganizationally for women's football and tournaments like the AFCON? Thank you.
Brilliant question. Brilliant question. I think part of how you do better, or how you move in the right direction of success, is to recognize the weaknesses and things you can deal with differently and better. But let me tell you, we gave the AFCON to Morocco. And when there were matters concerning the hosting of the AFCON, I received many other proposals from other countries who said, bring the WAFCON to us, bring the WAFCON to us. And we have to behave in a manner that is ethical, that is principled. It would have been incorrect to take it away from Morocco. Because when we had opened the tender and said, come, anybody wants to host, because I'm clear in my mind, I want the competitions. I want every zone and as many countries as possible to host these competitions. So when there were these challenges, we had to engage to make sure that that we maintain the ethics, we maintain the respect, the mutual respect, and I'll even say the mutual trust. And could we have done better? Absolutely. But we did the right thing by not having it. It was supposed to be in February. Yeah. The same thing, what is your name again? Yanda. Yanda Masakai. Yanda. The same thing with the Chan in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. It was supposed to take place last year in February. They were not ready. I could have taken it away from them, but that would have been the wrong thing to do. And we had to be there to support and work together. They spent so much more money between February and August last year to have this big competition in those three countries, and we've benefited immensely. We've learned as well, but it gave us a prelude to what we should do and the challenges we might be confronted with next year in June, July. So I'm very happy, and we are all in CAF very happy and excited that we've done the right thing. Besides, if we had it in February, we wouldn't have been able to significantly increase the prize money as we have now and get lots of focus. Women's football is crucial. And, it should not just be, we shouldn't pay lip service to women's football. We should do more than pay lip service. And a 900% increase in the money we are allocating to women's football is a substantial expression of confidence and commitment. But thank you for the question.
President, if I might go to the WhatsApp questions from international journalists. One is from Mauritania, Ahmed Lamam from Mauritania. He writes, Mr. President, African referees officiated only in 11 out of the 104 matches at the World Cup, raising concerns about the treatment of African referees. How do you respond to this, and how can we ensure that more African referees are officiating at top matches?
Very good question. Obviously, I want as many African referees as possible to be at the World Cup and to officiate as many matches as possible. And we will continue the discussions and the engagement with FIFA and with Pierre Luigi, who I think does very good work and is very committed and passionate. And I've had that question asked and raised by many people, and I can assure you that that those matters are being discussed, and I'm confident that there will be significantly more African referees. And part of that is to continue working together between CAF and FIFA to keep training, keep supporting, keep uplifting the standards and qualities of African referees. African referees are as good as the best in the world. My apologies. They're as good as the best in the world, and we've got lots of confidence in them. And they should be there at the highest level in the world. Of course, if an African nation is in the final, we will not have an African referee there. But I want both. Let's have the African referee. We want to see African referees, as many of them, at the highest level at FIFA competitions. Next.
Just another question from Nigeria, from Timothy from Nigeria, President. He writes, good afternoon, Mr. President. Congratulations. Did the performance of the African nations at the World Cup reinforce your belief that CAF's current club and national team competitions are adequately preparing players for the world's biggest stage?
Absolutely. You see, I have to guard jealously about the quality and the global competitiveness of our club football competitions and our national team competitions. And that's why we've allocated, when I became president, CAF was in debt to the amount of $150 million. We owed $150 million. We now have $150 million in our bank account, but be careful. That money is not supposed to sit in our bank accounts. It's supposed to consistently be allocated to the member associations, to football for boys and girls, to training of referees and coaches, and so you will see from our financial statements we keep as little money as possible on our balance sheet, because the money is not supposed to be in our bank account. It's supposed to be used and spent on the ground. So the performances of the African national teams at the FIFA World Cup reflects that the quality of African football. Look, Egypt was winning 2-0 against Argentina. Cabo Verde drew with the champions. And he's from Nigeria. Nigeria has got some of the best players, not just in Africa, but in the world. And I'm confident Nigeria will continue to make us proud as it did in the past. Same Cameroon and same Bafana Bafana and every one of the 54 African national teams.
Temba, you're next.
Temba Shabalala, Joseph from Sports. Good afternoon, President. Just on the matter Yala Ekhaya, we've got one of the 50...
about Yala Ekhaya because
all right, one of your 54 regions has got elections coming up, which is South African Football Association. Just your word on that, the presidential elections. We saw, campaigns are now underway. What's your take on that? And is CAF involved in probably, without taking any sides, just going out and saying maybe message of good luck or anything like that? How far does CAF go in terms of that?
I like the message of good luck, I remember when I was a student at Wits, and Dali Mpofu always reminds me of this. And, and we were marching, against the government, against apartheid, and we were fighting, and we said, they can hit us, and we will keep fighting. And then the police were standing outside Wits, and they had such big sticks, and we were debating, should we continue with the march? And one guy from KwaZulu-Natal said, guys, let us just pray and go home, because if we keep marching, they're going to hit us so hard. And then, of course, there were those like Mpofu who said, no, we have to go on. So going to the issue of South Africa, again, we've got to keep giving positive messages. And it's very clear, we have to unite, to keep South African football together, united, both within SAFA and as well as the relationship between SAFA and the PSL. Very, very, very important. And you said something very important. CAF will be there to support, as well as FIFA, to make sure that the processes are in compliance with the CAF and FIFA statutes and regulations. But what the president of CAF cannot do is to say, I like Lux, but I don't like John. You don't do that. The president, I had the same problem in Côte d'Ivoire when Drogba was standing to be president of the football league in Ivory Coast. Now, I like Drogba. Made us proud, as much as I like Eto'o. All the football players, we're all proud of them. But I had to tell a meeting where there were many more people than what is in this room that my job is to we have to support and make sure it's all done in a manner that's legal and ethical, and to make sure that the candidate that wins is the one that enjoys the support of football in the country. But we should not... Listen, I know Danny. He's somebody I've known. I like him. I know Sandile. Sandile was my Secretary General when I was President of Black Business, and I was given the job to say, you have to unite black and white businesses, big challenge. And so So Danny will phone me and say whatever he wants. Sandile will phone me and say whatever he likes, but I think there's a clear understanding that as the president of CAF, I have to maintain a position of impartiality and neutrality. But having said that, I have a big stake, like all of us. This country has got enormous potential. Enormous potential. Enormous potential. You know, this country can produce the national team that will be in the, not just the semi-finals, in the finals of the FIFA World Cup. Can do that. It won't happen overnight, but it starts with everybody working together. Dr. Koza is an old, he keeps telling me that he is implementing my father's agenda in football. So I said, but if you are implementing my father's agenda in football, what agenda am I implementing with? But you know, now. So of course I know. I was born in Orlando, so if you were born in Orlando, you had no choice. With Bati, they said, you will support Pirates whether you like it or not. And then, of course, we got exposed to Kaiser, as young boys from the family. Love Kaiser Chiefs, love Orlando Pirates, love Mamelodi Sundowns, and all the others. So I'm confident that that the process will be in a manner that's appropriate. That's our job to also supervise that, and a decision will be taken that's in the interest of football, and we will work together and support whichever candidate has been chosen by the leadership of football in the country. Okay.
You'll go down to President.
Good afternoon, President. My name is Morris Khoda from Now in SA. I've been listening, President. You spoke about everyone else. You gave credit to everyone else. But I think it's important that we should put this on record. President, if you remember quite well, you took some team in Pretoria. It was Mamelodi Sundowns. You took it to the top. It won the CAF Champions League. Besides that, you became one of the biggest black billionaire in this country.
You must see my overdraft, you'll feel sorry for me.
Not only that, President, you went to CAF, and you just said it right now. They were having some overdrafts before you took over. And right now you took CAF to the top. All this is leadership, President. For me, it's okay when you give credit to the team, but there must always be a leader who is leading that team, and that is you. Why am I saying this, President? Because right now you have done everything you could for soccer in this country, in the continent. Currently, the world needs you within FIFA. Currently, President, this country needs you. This is not a political statement, President. It's because you simply proved it, that you've got the leadership that we need in this country. So I just thought that, President, you need to know that South Africans do appreciate what we have done for this country, what we are continuously doing for the continent. But at the same time, Kutwani Kasizulu, don't forget at home, President, our country's got a huge unemployment rate of the youth. It is within that, President, that I say that in politicians, they might have lobbied you, but at this moment, it's not just about politicians, it's about the citizens of this country who feels that there is a lack of leadership, but at the same time, they've seen what you can do. We have seen your work. So I just wanted to say thank you, President. Thank you for what you've been doing. Keep on doing it.
Well, let me say this. CNN asked me, no, don't clap hands for that. I mean, CNN asked me along the same line of questions that you did, and my answer is very simple. South Africa does not need me to go into politics. There are many very capable, very good leaders in this country. I don't want to mention names. I've had the enormous privilege. The only problem I have is I'm not part of any group. And that's why even some of the friends who are my friends say things which are not flattering, because somebody said to them that somebody might persuade me to change my view. But they're still my brothers, man. And I understand why they say so, or why they make these statements, because they've got a lot at stake in the context of the group that they belong to, and they need that group to succeed. I understand that. But no person is indispensable. I mean, I've had the privilege of leading black business. I don't know. We united black and white business, and you actually judge a leader by not how good things were when he was there or she was there, but what happened when they've gone. And this is the issue that I'm applying my mind to now within CAF. I deeply love this country, and I deeply love the people of this country, and I have the privilege of doing the things where I think I can make a contribution. I mean, this thing about FIFA, let me rather say, I've said on many occasions, FIFA doesn't, listen, I love FIFA. Huge, enormous contribution that FIFA does. But I have no desire or ambition to be president of FIFA. It doesn't excite me. I phone Lux at 3 o'clock in the morning and tell him about something I should have told him last week, which I thought of at 3 o'clock in the morning, but because I didn't phone him at 3 o'clock, I forgot. But also, this country has got good people, many good people. We shouldn't only focus on our failures and deficiencies, and there are many of them. But there's so much that we should take confidence from and be proud of. And the religious leaders I have the privilege of interacting with, because values and what you believe in and what you stand for is very, very important. And the traditional leaders, the kings, and also all political parties, every single political party. I don't want to mention names. The people I've had the honor to interact with. And it's easy for me. I mean, I can stand by the sideline and say that it's like football, for example. When they came to me and said, we want you to consider being president of CAF, one of the leaders said, it doesn't even come to meetings of the football board of governors. Because I don't need to go there, because you've got Irvin Khoza and Dr. Khoza, Dr. Mutau, people I love. I've got a long history with both of them, Mato and various others. Good work. And the work that has been done in SAFA, under Danny and various others, let's look at the good. You'll always find things to criticize because it's society. But I want to conclude by saying that my biggest contribution is when I have the capacity to keep engaging, as I'm privileged to, with all leaders of all political parties, because no political party can take this country forward on its own. The voters have shown us that. So let's think about the poor. Let's focus on the poor and the unemployed, and we will all do much better. Let's go back to football now.
Thank you, President. We'll take a question here in the middle.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Football question, eh?
Yes, it is indeed. My name is Claudio Fosu. I'm from GFE Sports in London, UK. Mr. President, thank you for what Africa football has become under your leadership. The World Cup has showed the world what you've long believed about this continent. So at the moment, we're building GFE, which is a global football ecosystem outside of the UK. And we're connecting African players, coaches.
I don't want to interrupt you, but it's people like you that makes me proud, eh? I mean, this continent has got exceptional young, talented people like yourself, exciting ideas, new things of doing things, and we must see how we can work together and support you guys.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. President. So, as I was mentioning, we're connecting African players, coaches, and academies straight to global sponsors, clubs, investors, media, and educators, so our talent is seen at home and schooled whilst it's here. How receptive do you believe the continent is, especially in South Africa, to building an commercial bridge between Africa and Europe, where for once the greater share stays on this side of it, and where you would have our start?
Yeah. Let's clap hands for him, man. Come on. Yeah. Because I see even those who compete with you clap softly. But you see, this is the point. There are certain things we cannot do immediately, but there are so many things we can do. And sometimes we don't even recognize it. So you must talk to Lux. I can tell you, CAF has got enormous infrastructure networks, but they don't use those networks and those partnerships with business to the benefit of young leaders like yourself and others. You know, my brother there, who spoke earlier, and thank you so much for your wonderful remarks. The point I was going to make is that partnerships are very important. When I went into the mining business, one of the things I was clear about, more than, 35 years ago or what, was to partner with the best. In anything you do, partner with the best. So whether, in the businesses that we are involved in as a family, we partner with the best because we learn from them. And we are part of what CAF must do. And we will, there are things we can do. We not just talk about what people do. There's a lot. So talk to Lux, talk to Samson, and remind them I have to approve their bonuses. If you say that they're helping young people like yourself to succeed, I'll increase their bonuses. And I'll do the opposite if they don't. Thank you. Very proud of you.
Thank you, President. I'll just come this side. Where's the microphone now? Oops. Yeah, just give it to Matlatsi here, and then afterwards Nkareng, and then we go to Mr. Gleason Jr. afterwards.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Matlatsi from Times Live. Mr. President, my question...
Matlatsi, I'm told your business is doing very well. They were saying to me, you are cash flush. I like that. If you are cash flush.
No, that's not true, Mr. President.
That's what they told me. Anyway.
My question, I'm going to disappoint you, is not football per se, but it's related to football. With Pamoja in mind and with our experience with these things is that we've often had challenges with visas when we go into these countries. This one also being 3 countries, it becomes a little bit trickier.
Good question. Very good question.
You can't interfere in the affairs of other countries, but are you going to speak to them to at least make it easier and possibly free and maybe make one visa for all the 3 countries?
Brilliant, Matlatsi. Brilliant. No, I didn't put in the press statement. There's discussion to allow you, when you come in one country, you can go to all 3. And let me correct this. The fact that we respect the sovereignty of every nation in terms of their decision of who comes in and who doesn't come in doesn't mean that we don't engage with them. We have to. And we engaged with them with the objective of saying, make it as easy as possible. I mean, when you went to Qatar, I'm told that if you show them you had a ticket, that was your passport. So, and I must say, I'm very proud of those heads of state of those three countries, because Madame Sunulu and President Ruto and President Museveni, deep commitment and excitement to make sure that that the AFCON is enormously successful. I mean, the president of football in Uganda said to me, we have never had so many people visit Uganda as what happened last year during the football competition called the CHAN. So immediately the country sees, wow, the hotels are full, the aeroplanes are full, people buy food, the restaurants are full. I don't want the hospitals to be full. But there's money the jobs are being created. There's money that's going around that's developing the economy. That's excellent. So I can assure you, Mashazi, we've had discussions there. Actually, there's discussion, as I said, of ensuring that you apply for a visa or as I don't want to conclude because we will make announcements, but the objective is to make sure that it allows our football fans to move around as quickly and as freely as possible. I was in LA. I went to watch one of the football matches, and as I left, one of the people I haven't seen, I last saw him when I was working in America many years ago, and he said to me, "We are going to come. I'm bringing my whole family. We're going to come and watch the football in Kenya, and what we are going to do is we're going to go on safari. So we're going to link our watching of football with taking the family on safari." Beautiful. Because, and he's not the only one. I've heard many other people say that, the whole Pamoja, and Pamoja is going to be enormously successful. But thanks for that question, Mkhaga.
Okay, Nkareng, and then Mark Gleason's Jr., and then we go back to the gentleman there.
Good afternoon, President. My name is Nkareng from Sowetan newspaper. Having listened to you earlier, is it a foregone conclusion that CAF will endorse President Infantino when he seeks re-election next year in Morocco in March at the FIFA Elective Congress? And also, are individual federations allowed to change their mind, or should they just stick to one position as elucidated by yourself? And then you mentioned that I think beyond 2032, you might not be at CAF, but also you mentioned that you had wanted to serve one term, but you were persuaded to stand again. Are you open to that kind of persuasion again, since you said you are not ambitious enough to pursue the FIFA presidency?
Yeah. Now, there are certain things you must be careful about being persuaded. There are certain things you should never be persuaded about. And nobody is going to persuade me to serve more than 2 terms in CAF. It's not going to happen. And we took a decision to support, and I personally support Infantino. He's not just a good friend, he's a loyal friend. He's loyal to Africa. And again, I come from a different background where when people have been loyal to you, you never stab them in the back. You never do that. And as I said, to help in Africa, that excites me. FIFA doesn't need me. So nobody's going to be able to persuade me to change my views on those things, because And, but also because there are other people who are very good and who will do a good job. We've got to be careful that we don't we don't start focusing too much on certain individuals. Everybody makes a contribution, but this country has got. Ngareng, raise your hand and become president of whatever you want to. And you, Ngareng used to write beautiful articles about me, And but this is So I'm just saying that CAF will be fine. African football will be fine, even when I'm not there, and that's part of what I'm focusing on, and everything else where I've had the honor of making a humble contribution. Part of the job is to make sure that there are better people than me when I was there to take over, and they, of course, they bring new leadership and new focus, but just overall, that's good for football. But thanks for those questions, Nkari.
Nick, Mr. Gleeson, and I'll go to the lady behind you afterwards, and then the BBC at the back there.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Nick Gleeson for Soccer Beat.
You know Mark Gleeson?
I think I've heard of him.
He does wonderful work.
Indeed. Just before the World Cup, there was a lot of criticism on the expanded edition, with 10 spots being given to African teams in particular. There was a lot of talk of the quality of the competition being watered down because of that. I mean, looking at the performance of African teams and obviously the engagements you've had throughout the tournament with other people in high places in football, do you think the performance of African teams has helped a lot to change the global perception of African football going forward?
Very good question. You know, until an African country wins the World Cup, there will always be Mara, nere atumetse marara dia ntwe nere kemiseriso idea. That was the Arab version of what we are saying. So we have received so much respect for how the African countries played. And we have to look at the psyche of our country as well. And this is so important. So important. The psyche of our country, but also the psyche of the continent. There's so much for us to be proud about, to be inspired by. And look at the good. You will always find good. And sadly, you'll also always find, weaknesses and challenges. And people look at how we failed in the past and say, we are destined to fail forever. Remember, we come from a country where they said that, that there was going to be civil war. And of course, we come from a difficult past. But I think the feedback I've received from top football leaders in the world is that the Africans made us proud. And they could even have done even better. I mean, we were leading 2-0 against Argentina. If we just told the ref, we can't tell the referee, let's go, stop the game, let's go home. But just, and we will learn. So we've gained so much more respect and recognition. And I can tell you, I think at the next World Cup, I will not be in football. I will not be in CAF anymore. When the next World Cup, I'll go to Morocco as an ordinary football spectator and a football fan. But I think Africa will do even better. Even better.
I'll go to the lady. I'll take the last 3 questions because we're running out of time.
Okay,
and
thank
then
you.
I'll go to you and then to BBC afterwards.
Okay, thank you. My name is Cindy Swamkuteni, and I'm representing the civil society, the church community. Amen to God.
Amen.
Amen. So I think what CAF has demonstrated is the power of God. I don't know if you believe in God, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian. What happened at a global stage can only be God enforced. However you may have trained, however you may have the diligence, however you may have the best players in the world, God is the center. And I really appreciate the demonstration of your leadership, CAF President, but also I want to give God a round of applause.
I will clap to that.
Thank you. I stand because I have one question, which following this godly appreciation, you've got the conference coming up. There's people like myself who are entrepreneurs in the ICT industry, but very passionate about football. We are also, we pray for football, believe it or not. We pray for unity because football is able to unite presidents. Football is able to bring cohesiveness. Football is the reason for development. And so it is not only the playing field where we see success in football. I think there's a resonance and ripple effect. You have the upcoming conference. What is the allocation for civil society?
Brilliant question.
Correct.
Brilliant.
And what is the allocation, the number? Thank you.
I mean, just listening to you, something went through my mind. I spoke about the Catholic mission school I went to when I was 5 years old and spent 10 years there. They used to wake us up every morning at 6 o'clock and we had to go to church. Whether you like it or not, you had to go to church. Every night before we went to bed, you had to go to church. For me, those were, that's why I said they were the best 10 years of my life. But I like this. It's so important that and let me say that, you know, values, what you believe in, just simple things like basic things like honesty, integrity. Treat the next person the way you would like to be treated. Don't lie. I don't know. Don't steal this. Those things are embedded in God, Allah, and it's very, very important that we all grew up in families where some Sundays we went to church and we should put God and Jesus Christ at the center of what we do. Now, let's go to something that crossed my mind whilst you were talking. We should have a conference where it's talking about how can people make money out of football and bring all of the football stakeholders. But this reminds me of the days when I was president of NAFCOC and would have meetings with thousands and thousands of businessmen and Dr. Sam Mutswenyane, Umshengu Wallace, Chabalala, and Maponya. And there is so much. I mean, football is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I think the numbers that they talk about are in excess of 300 billion American dollars. We have to have a meeting where the focus is how does African small business, young business, all businesses get involved in football and make a living out of it. One of the things that I liked enormously about this Motsepe Foundation National Day of Prayer is you've got thousands of hawkers who come the night before at the FNB Stadium, prepare food. And I mean, some come from KZN, the Eastern Cape. Unbelievable. They come just for that day of prayer because they make so much money selling food to our people who come on that day of prayer. So we should look at, and I think the football, when there's a football match, I think our hawker sell things as well outside. I'm not talking about the suite because you spoke about the tickets in America. I mean, I spent so much money, Mark, buying tickets. A lot of very, very But these were the suites where we had these partners and others who we want them to support football and sponsor football. But it's a brilliant idea you raised, because in everything we do, Lux, and you must tell the Secretary General is in Morocco, because acting Secretary General, I'm always reminded, they say, please don't say Secretary General. He's still acting. He does such wonderful work. He makes me proud. But we should make our events create opportunities for business people to grow their businesses, to partner, to make income. That's a brilliant idea. We should implement it.
I've taken note of it, President.
Yeah.
I've taken note of it. I'll take the last 3 questions, and then we have to close because they have to leave us in the media very soon. I'll go with you. Very brief question, the last 3 questions, then afterwards I go to BBC, and then I go to the gentleman at the back. Very brief.
Thank you, President. Temoso Mokoena from Now in SA. I heard you talking about how we can make money off of football. My founder and editor, she's over there, so as soon as we can come to, she's the one with the long dreadlocks over there, so as soon as we can figure out how we can make some money, please do. We're an independent media house, and we'd appreciate
I like, what did you say, what's your name?
Temoso Mokoena.
You know, Temoso, there's so much talent. And sometimes, one of the things you see, these are the things that excite me. We have to provide centers that increase. In I think 2011 or something, they asked me to be the first chairman of the BRICS Business Council of the 5 countries, China, India, Brazil, and South Africa and Russia. And one of the things we did was just what you're saying, is we have to create these centers to allow interaction with the objective of entrepreneurial financial transactions. But we have to make them happen. And we will come better and better the more we make them happen. So continue.
No, thank you very much. I'll make sure that we speak to Lux after this. Thank you very much. President, I've heard a lot has been said this afternoon. You spoke about unity, you spoke about perception. What is the responsibility of CAF in terms of protecting our players? I ask this because currently in South Africa we're dealing with xenophobia. It's not only something that's happening in real life, it happens online. For example, we can make an example of Imi Okon, who suffered some of the worst abuse online from vigilante groups such as March and March. Now, we face a problem where we're going to have clubs and also countries going to go play in Africa. We can't really separate what's happening because now, in the hospitality industry, tourism, South Africans are being chased away from these establishments because of these groups. Now, we've seen already with North African countries how hostile they can be when it comes to playing in our stadiums with their fans in our stadiums, as well as us visiting them. I've gone through your Twitter feeds. There has been no coordinated campaign from CAF or any of the South African regulatory bodies about saying no to xenophobia, Afrophobia. And I think, at times like this where we saw overseas last season with Black Lives Matter, we think about the UK regiments with their poppy. Every time there is a social issue, the clubs and the football federations tackle it head on.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up here in South Africa.
I'm so proud of you, Where in South Africa?
The rest of Roodepoort, Krugersdorp area side. So.
You see, because we need to spend more time with young people like yourselves and others. Because sometimes we get so overwhelmed by the immediate emergencies and pressures, the pressures we have, that this critical point you raise, we're not doing as much as we can and as much as we should. I want you to conclude so that I can just make a few quick remarks, but you've raised such good points.
No, thanks, President. So I just wanted to, as I land, I just wanted to say, now going forward, as the Banyana women's team is in Morocco, as the domestic league is going to kick off, as long as intercontinental competitions, what is going to be CAF's approach now in terms of messaging to its audience and also to club fans regarding this bout of Afrophobia, because it affects the players, it affects the fans. People are scared to speak out because they feared being ostracized by such groups. So what is going to be the approach from CAF in protecting players, not only in the field,
but not just players, but also ordinary
the fans as well,
exactly.
yes, the fans as well as the visiting fans from other countries as well that will be coming here.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I've always liked Thabo Mbeki and various other leaders. The same applies to every other leader who was in the ANC and those who are not part of the ANC. And I've always had enormous respect. And the reason why I mentioned Thabo Mbeki is because of what he said about xenophobia. And I think it's correct to say that what Julius said as well, Julius Malema, very good. Very, very good. Now, let me clarify 2 points on this issue of Afrophobia and xenophobia. Illegality in all its forms, we will not tolerate, we reject. Illegality. And that includes illegal migration. I mean, nobody, and of course criminality as well. We are totally against illegality in all its forms, as well as illegal migration. And that's very clear, and we should put that aside. And then there's a separate issue. And that separate issue is when people legally come to this country. You know, something weird is happening in other parts of Africa. You come from outside the continent. You're a tourist. We welcome you. You're a tourist. You're not coming here to take people's jobs. Because our job, of course, as a country, every country in Africa, your first obligation is to your people. Without a doubt. The number one obligation of the government of South Africa is to create jobs and create a future for its people. 100%. And any form of illegality, whether by our South Africans or people from outside the continent, should not just outside the continent, outside the country, should not be tolerated at all, under any circumstances. You've got to take effective legal action and ensure that there's a huge amount of respect for the law, non-negotiable. But, you know, for businessmen like myself, South Africa has no future. And we'll talk about it in the context of CAF and football. We have no future as a country. I meet the top businessmen, the top politicians, the top heads of state in the world, have done so for the last 30, 35 years. We have no future if we don't partner with the continent. And it's politically unpopular to go and educate our people, to say to them that we are all Africans. And Africans means whether you're white or black or green or whatever, we are Africans. And we are enriched by the different cultures, the different languages, the different ways, the multiracial, multicultural appearances of our people. But you will never be able to create the jobs that we need in this country and create a bright future for all our people without taking out the negativity and educating our people to realize that we have to interact with the continent in a manner that's mutually beneficial. I mean, something weird happened about 20 years ago when I was hosting one of my children were being baptized, and I was we had invited many of our relatives and other guests to be there at the baptism. And as one of the families were leaving, some guys came in a car and said to them they wanted to rob them. And they said, but now we see that you are South African, and because you are South African, we're not going to rob you. I mean, there should be no robbing at all. But we thought that you were foreigners. And because we thought you were foreigners, we wanted to rob you. So, and that's why young people like yourself and others, the concern about our people not getting jobs is a legitimate concern. And we've got a duty to do that. And of course, there's also an equally legitimate concern when some of our businesses don't employ South Africans, but employ people from outside the continent because they give them, because they are prepared to accept low wages. It's wrong. But we will, we have to do the right thing and educate our people and say to them that illegality will not be tolerated. And we will also, from a CAF, we will issue those statements. We have to say, we support the cooperation, the working together of Africans on the continent. We will not tolerate, we cannot support illegality. We cannot support illegal migration. You cannot. Because all over the world you've got, and some of the leaders are correct when they raise issues to say that, if we should try and create jobs in those countries, man. Forget about people from outside South Africa. If you don't create jobs in Limpopo, you don't create jobs in KwaZulu-Natal, you don't create jobs in Eastern Cape, people will leave the rural areas and come to the cities because they need jobs. So we need to work together to try and create jobs in the countries, in our neighboring countries, and in other countries on the continent. Okay, let's go back now. CAF will issue a statement to say that we support legality. We do not support illegality in all its forms. And we fully appreciate that and support and recognize that the duties of every government starts with its own citizens to create jobs and to create a future for its citizens. But we should stop this intolerance and prejudice and violence against our own people just because they come from outside the continent or outside our countries. So that's why we don't want to go into politics, because we've got to, at times, stand for what is ethically and morally correct. And they say, yeah, but you're going to lose votes. If you lose votes for what is ethically and morally and principled, and in line with our religious convictions and upbringing, then lose the votes. That's what we should teach our children. President, we'll do that at CAF as well.
Understood, President.
Okay, so we can go now.
President, I'm going to take last two questions. We've literally run out of time, completely run out of time.
So you will engage with, what is his name? He's giving you another name. You will engage with him, and you must draft the statement for CAF, okay? You must just put the CAF letterhead and say, there we go.
Okay, I'm going to take the last two questions. Literally ran out of time. The guys were telling me that we have run out of time. So I'll go to the BBC and then you will have the last question, say.
Afternoon, everyone. Tutuga Zondi from BBC News. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have announced their intention to co-host the 2032 AFCON tournament. Has CAF received the official bid? And what security guarantees would CAF require?
Good question. Good question.
Thank you.
Now, I have this difficult question. I have to go to Mali. I've been there. And the military was in control, but I went there because of football. I have to go to Burkina Faso. And some of the African heads of state said, don't go there because there's there's a military junta there. I have to go to Niger, and some of the heads of state say, don't go there because there's a military leadership. And, but again, I think we've got to deal with reality. And of course, democracy and freedom of speech and regular elections, that's non-negotiable. And that's critical. But I will be visiting those countries to engage on the football part. And of course, the decision as to where the AFCON will go is a decision of the EXCO. I mean, there's so many presidents who say to me, they think I have the power to decide magic, that the AFCON is going to go to a certain country. I don't want that power, and because part of my duty is also to create a culture where CAF functions in a manner that reflects ethics and governance and transparency, but also global best practices. So we don't know at this stage where the AFCON is going in 28, 32, and 36. And Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali will have as good a chance as everybody else. They are not going to be disadvantaged or prejudiced by the fact that they are military juntas. But you raise a very important point. The questions of safety and security, and those are questions that we will have to address. But there's no decision that has been taken as to where it will go. But it's a very good question.
Okay, the last question will come from the back.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Valentin for Radio France International.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Actually, I had the exact same question as my colleague from the BBC. Just maybe a quick follow-up. Do you confirm that CAF approved the application from these three countries and now the discussion goes on? Is it like official?
Very good question, because you see, we have to work with the rest of the world. And the rest of the world includes countries in Europe and in America, well, countries in North America, and in Latin America and in Asia. So that proposal will be looked at in the context of any other proposal. But I can tell you, the standards are very high. Eh? Very high. We have to be convinced that there'll be free movement of our fans and spectators and supporters in and out. We have to be convinced, and this applies to every country, that our fans and our guests will be safe, will be protected by the police and everybody else, good infrastructure, because it's also a moment to strengthen the ties between our people on the continent, as well as our Africa and the rest of the world. So, you know, those countries are members of CAF. They've come to put in a bid. We've got to look at it. We've got to look at the infrastructure. There's an independent entity that has to go there and do a report. So they'll come back and say, the stadiums are good or are not good. The hospitals and the hotels and all of those infrastructural requirements. And sometimes football can just be the tool to bring people together. Of course, I can't talk in public what I discuss privately with the head of state, but part of my duties is the people in a country, and not just the football supporters, and you know, and the commitment that all of us have to democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of association, and the sort of fundamental principles that are important for us on the continent.
All right, thank you very much, President. We've gone
no more questions, eh?
We've gone there's a gentleman here. Yeah, let's give you the very last question. No. In front of Mama Joy somewhere.
Yeah, because we are not likely to have a press conference, I think, until the end of the WAFCON. Eh? Now we'll have the next press. So Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Kamkhelo Mokhale from Voice of Wits.
My alma mater.
President, we all know what happened with regards to Omar Atan. And I just wanted to find out from you what prompted you to act swiftly in the manner that you did, together with President Seferin, in rewarding him in the way that you did.
Very good question, because when there's an AFCON, I have an opportunity to meet with the referees. I maybe see them once or maybe even twice a year. And that's an opportunity to do two things. Number one, to emphasize that we want them to have a future in football where they earn good money, can create a future, to diminish or even eliminate the chances of corruption. And it's also an opportunity for me to hear from them. What are we not doing well as CAF? What are the areas where we should improve? As well as, thank God, as well as areas where they're happy that we're making progress. So it became clear to me that to be a referee at the FIFA World Cup is an honor. And they earn good money. And we've also, in CAF, significantly increased what they earn. And we still can do more, and we will do more. So when I saw that, it really saddened me. Because I gave him an award last year on behalf of the 54 CAF member associations as our top referee. Excellent referee. And it was necessary to try and ameliorate the experiences he had. And that's why I said I want to thank UEFA and thank President Seferin for the partnership, and he will be the referee. It's the champions of the two champions of the two club competitions in Europe at the highest level. It's a great honor for me, for Africa, for African referees, and it's a great honor for him as well. And what made me happy is to hear him laugh, and you can't hear people smile, but you can hear them laugh and be happy over the phone and express so much joy. And so very, very happy. And we will keep supporting and keep assisting our referees, because we are very proud of him, as much as we are proud of every one of the referees on the African continent. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. You've got food, eh?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, President.
You must tell CAF, if they give you lousy food, tell them. They will. You can surely. I mean, you say you want to be the best in the world, you can't even give us decent food. And but I know some of the journalists were asking for whiskey. Please, we don't offer whiskey because we don't know what you'll say when you have whiskey there.
I just want to take this over just a second. Just want to thank everyone. First of all, also thank the president of COSAFA, president of SAFA.
Sorry, just 1 minute. Everybody, my apologies. Everybody has got a press statement there, so you've got it. You can, if you have any questions, ask. Is somebody asked for a one-on-one?
Yes, afterwards.
Just quickly, short one-on-one on my way out. Okay. So please continue.
Yes.
Please continue.
We'll just have a quick photo opportunity with COSAFA president and the SAFA president afterwards as we make our way out, just for photographers only. Otherwise, thank you so much.
So a photo with who?
No, you will just have a photo opportunity here, President. So we'll invite the president of COSAFA just to join you for a photo.
Who am I having a photo with? I don't know. Okay, I follow instructions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Just the photographers only, just this side. And President